Hello and welcome to Luna and
And
The
the Druid.
Druid. Tonight we will talk about very important topic, which is the light. And I love the title The Duality of Light, because like everything, light has its shadow and its darkness, and it can't exist without the darkness. So tonight we will explore that topic. So thank you, Jan, for suggesting that and
You're
bringing
welcome.
it to the table.
Yeah, you're welcome. And of course,
Yeah,
it was a natural follow-up to the previous two episodes that were about the shadow, about darkness, especially following the Halloween episode. So the last three episodes were darkish. So we bring a little balance to the story. But
yeah,
talking about stories, um, I think I'll just start with a little story about the story of light. And here we go. Imagine a lone traveler walking through a dense forest just before dawn. The path is shrouded in shadows, the air thick with silence, broken only by the rustle of unseen creatures. The traveler carries a single lantern, its soft glow barely enough to light the ground beneath their feet. In the darkness, the lantern feels like a lifeline, offering safety and direction. But as the horizon begins to brighten, the first rays of sunlight pierce through the canopy. The traveler pauses, awestruck. The light reveals the path ahead in its entirety, the twists and turns they could not see before. For the first time, the beauty of the forest is visible, the leaves shimmering with dew, the intricate patterns of the bark, the vibrant hues of flowers that were hidden by the night. Yet, with the light comes an unsettling truth. The shadows of the forest deepen, making every hollow and crevice more pronounced. The traveler notices what they could not do in the dark: the steep ravine behind the path, the thorny brambles ahead, the spider webs glinting in the sunlight. The light, while illuminating the beauty of the journey, also reveals its dangers. This is the duality of light. It's not just a guide, but a revealer. It shows us beauty, clarity, and the way forward. But it also lays bare our vulnerabilities, our flaws, and the challenges we must face. In spiritual terms, light is both comfort and confrontation, a force that brings enlightenment, but also compels us to look at what we're rather avoid. As Luna and I dive into this discussion, we'll explore how the light can heal, inspire, and illuminate, while also challenging us to grow by facing what it reveals. In the journey of self discovery, light is our greatest ally, and at times our most difficult teacher. Let's walk this path together. Let's embrace the contrast of light through a spiritual lens. There we are. And of course, Luna, this was the story of the Hermit. You're, you're quiet. You're muted. Oops.
ha! Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you very much, Jan. That was an amazing story, which shows all the depths of light. Because when we think about light, we can feel and think about the warmth, the unseen things it brings, but
Yeah.
we can also experience light in a different ways. For example, if it's too bright and if it's going to be flashed straight into our eyes, what
Yeah.
it causes pain. So tonight we will dive deeper into that topic. And that story was just the most beautiful summarize of everything. It brings the duality of light, and I really loved it. And hello, Richard, and hello, Kiki. So lovely to see you
Welcome
and
all.
have you guys tonight.
Yeah.
What was your inspiration for that story, Jan? Apart from the hermit part.
It was in it came up in doing my research, a topic like this, that you walk the path, and slowly you walk from the darkness into light, and in the darkness, when you enlighten your path, you only see a small stretch ahead of you, and the bigger dangers show up when it's supported by real illumination. And of
Mm.
course, real illumination is what the sun would bring: joy and happiness, and uh, other happy things that we get from the light. So light illumination is the shedding of ignorance, but it's also the revealing of hidden truths. But it's also uncovering your path forward, casting away the shadows and the doubts, and then spiritually, light is synonymous with enlightenment, the state of understanding life's deeper mysteries and joy and happiness. So
Mm.
there's many aspects of light that work for you. um, the universe's wisdom comes from the differences.
I personally resonate with the sun card a lot. I was born on the 19th, and just like that card, people who know me tend to say one of the things people who know me tend to say about me is that I do bring light, I do bring sunshine, and I do bring the joyful energy with me wherever I go. However, it's not always the case. Um, Let me share something with you. Right now, I'm in a period of embracing the darkness, but it's not embracing the darkness as, oh my goodness, I'm experiencing the dark night of the soul. Different type of darkness. That darkness where I go within to find and discover and learn more about my own light. And yes, my body requires more rest, more sleep, but also I realized how in tune I am with nature, slowing down and giving my body what it needs, giving myself what I need and what I feel to do now, which is more not to do and just to be than rather than doing. And it feels so great and it fills me with light. And I know that the transformation I'm going through right now, because I know what's on the other side of it already. Every time I withdrawn, I always come back a different person. Something changes. There is a big transformation behind it, waiting on that other side of the rainbow, um, to help me bring and be more of light for others. Because with the light, yes, we all have it within us, but sometimes that spark can be easily destroyed.
Yeah. So we see it as like we said, in for instance, a year ago we went to a similar situation. We went with the hermit, with the introspective part of ourselves, and yeah, what you actually see is cocooning up and coming out as a butterfly, cocooning up and coming out as a butterfly. That's the whole story of it.
Exactly. But we need to remember that light always starts inside. And sometimes we need that spark from the outside. We need that other source which
Yeah.
would trigger the fire within us. But it's a very beautiful place. And I encourage you, if you feel like looking at your own light from that different perspective and going within and seeing what's there waiting for you, I guarantee you lots of rewards and even more light than you can possibly imagine. Because
Yeah.
sometimes we have to turn off all the distractions in the outside world in order to find ourselves and what's within us, here. So I love that time of the year where the nature slows down, and I'm there with it too, slowing down, reading some books, growing and learning. This is a beautiful, beautiful
Beautiful.
aspect of working with the darkness, facing your own shadows
Yeah, of course.
to build up more light.
And after that, we get the rude awakening.
Beautiful.
Judgment Day, where the angel blows the horn, and we in the Thoth Tarot, there's the element of being reborn as
Yes.
an enlightened being after this period of introspection. Um, yeah, very strong, um, going within, and yeah, in the end, like you see in the Rider Waite Tarot, the Rider Waite Smith, you come out of your coffin or your cocoon again, and be awakening, and then when the light shows up, um, what do we get? What are the first positive aspects? And I would say hope.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. So hope brings, um, light is the symbol of hope. When and in the dark night of the soul, the first shimmering of the morning light, when we return, that's the symbol of hope, promise of renewal, healing, a single candle in the dark.
Mm.
Um, I'll post on. I'll always post in midwinter. I have about 10 years ago. There was a photo taken of me holding a little candle and someone, my wife lighting it. So you just see a very vague impression of myself, and then this
Mm.
little lamp coming up, and it's taken from a winter solstice ritual. So it's. It's about the return of the light and the hope that it brings.
I'm surprised not to see the star card on the table, because what you've described, there we go. Because what you
Of course,
described,
it's not on the table.
yeah.
We're so
Mm.
in tune. So you had the feeling already that this is of course the card of yeah,
I
renewal.
was surprised not to see it, because what you just described was to me like a typical star card, and
Starcard moment, the
um,
Starcard archetype, and it is the return of the light is a symbol of hope. It's a symbol of
absolutely.
spring is coming. Woo, and
Even
we're not
though we
we're not
still
there
have
yet.
the whole winter to go through,
Yeah, we have a
that
whole week
that
to go
hope is
through.
there because we know what's next, we know what's behind it, and in the darkness very often we tend to focus on what's not working, what's dark, what's painful,
Yeah,
forgetting about that transformative part. And then after that transformation, after experiencing everything falling down literally, sometimes
yeah,
there is a new dawn with a new
yeah, yeah,
light.
yeah. Well, first what we're doing right now. So even before winter, we're already anticipating the return. And so this is also the Three of Wands is also a card of hope, and many good returns, and the return of the light, the return of the harvest, the returns of new starts. But very gorgeous that you mention that after hope comes clarity. Shall I do the card reveal that belongs to
Go
that
for
month?
it. Go for it.
I
Ta-da!
do. Ta-da! I always call this card the this is the golden dawn. This the clarity, the light, the force that dispels confusion and brings focus. It's the beginner's mind card. Spiritually, it helps you to see your circumstances, your choices, and your inner truths with greater precision. Sharpens your awareness and allowing you to navigate life complexities with understanding and purpose. Yeah, it's the clear mind, and it's the open mind, and it's cutting through the case, and there's this is really very good in the thoughts where you see the first light of dawn coming, and the new beginning, the clarity, the hope, the turning off the worries, turning off the darkness, and boom.
Just like in life, sometimes this Ace of Swords comes after a series of Ten of Swords,
Uh,
which help to
Obviously,
gain that clarity.
yeah.
What else have you got on the table?
Yeah, what we bring with clarity, well, we also bring what I would call divine light.
I think I know which card you mean by that.
And the divine light is, of course, the manifestation of the sacred and the manifestation of a presence, wisdom, and transformative power, um, of the divine, and it all depends where you're coming from, what your background is. The divine light. We have Christian ideas about it, but we also have lots of pagan ideas about it. The divine light seen as the radiance of nature, of the energy of the sun and the moon.
Mhm.
We have the moon, that's also divine light, and the stars, of course. We had the star code already. So divine light symbolizes the harmony with the natural world and the cosmos. Love the idea. Love the
Yeah.
idea.
Sometimes it comes with an epiphany, a thought, an idea, a feeling, a sudden understanding.
Sudden understanding, and yeah, and what I then call it is it's when you step out of the shadow. It's the eradication of the ego. It's creating this space around yourself, the eradication of the ego, the space around yourself where you can really shine, and where you can just observe and be, and accept the things as they are, and not resist.
Mhm.
No, the world of no resistance. Uh, Awakening of the soul, awakening, enlightenment. Yeah, that's it's all about these moments of spiritual awakening where clarity and understanding are revealed.
That usually comes after a tower moment, which I personally would add to that list of cards, which corresponds and which correspond. There you go, with the light, because it literally has a thunder on the picture. You don't even have to know the meaning to
Yeah,
realize that light is the key to that card. Um,
yeah, yeah. And these are also the challenging sides of light. The disruptive power of this is revelations, and it dismantles falsehoods and forces you to confront your truths,
yeah,
to
it's
be true
that
to yourself.
divine
Mm,
intervention. I always call the tower
bingo,
cards.
yeah, divine
Mhm.
intervention. It's a perfect,
Sometimes
perfect.
it's very needed. Sometimes it's the only way which moves us forward, which allows us to see the light through the trembling and through the challenges.
Absolutely,
Mm,
absolutely.
lovely.
Yeah.
So, okay, we have a positive aspect of life, that hope, that renewal energy,
Uh-huh.
warmth, awareness.
Hmm.
But are there any challenging sides of the light? The story suggests that they do. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, yeah. The light, the coming from darkness into light. So that's what we often refer to as the big awakening, and that comes with the dark night of the soul, and then you have the unifying force. Um, so that's the love and unity that transcends individual differences, but it also comes with purification, and that's
Mm,
the cleansing force, the purging force, which represent by the hangman. So purging negativity, sin, letting go of attachments that hinder spiritual growth, and it helps you to let go of what no longer serves you, and by that changing perspective.
mm,
That's what I always do with the hangman. Turn it upside down and say that things can change when you're stuck, when you're in this process. Um, the purification aspect of the hangman is, of course, because he is submerged into water in the Thoth. It's the card of the element of water. So there's a big purification part of it, followed by inner transformation.
mm. To me, water represents emotion. So that extra element we can add is the emotional transformation. But
Hmm.
exactly, changing perspective changes everything,
Yeah.
because when we're too close to something, we may not see what there actually is. So We talk about a lot about the bird, the high view, the eagle's perspective,
Hmm.
to see things from the higher point of view, literally spread your wings and fly,
Yeah,
just to see more and experience perhaps more. And with
yeah,
the hangman, I'm glad it's on the table because it's all about looking at the same thing from a different angle. And I can guarantee you things look different.
yeah, yeah. And that this is actually where we were talking about the last week, that the that when we go through, when we work with the shadow, we want to reveal these hidden parts of us, and we can just reveal them with ego transformation, and but we can also reveal the shadows, or even uh, yeah, with the light. You need light to cast a shadow. That's what the moon does. You need light to cast a shadow, but you can, when you move around the object that creates a shadow, then the light transforms the shadow, and the shadow is no longer there. And so it all depends from the perspective, like you said, the perspective where the light comes in, with that it reveals, or makes more clear it, or it diminishes it. There's both parts of it. That's um, that's the thing. And the big thing, of course, with clarity, that you also sometimes are uncomfortable with it, and you see aspects of yourself that you want to change, and broadcast
Yeah,
for that as well.
like for example, going into a shop with clothes that especially will resonate with most of women. There is a different lighting, and then we see ourselves in a completely different light, and it's not always a good thing, but then it works as a motivation.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's the devil whispering in your ear, buy these beautiful shiny clothes,
Or, oh my
all these
goodness,
lovely
you don't
shoes.
look well. That's what I was actually thinking and referring.
Oh,
That
Jesus,
sometimes it
yeah,
can be
yeah.
very, very revealing in a negative way in terms of bringing us into that spiral we shouldn't go just
Yeah,
because the light is there different.
yeah. Self-awareness can be positive and negative.
Of course,
Being aware of yourself, showing,
absolutely.
yeah, looking at yourself from a. Can you be honest to yourself and say, okay, I'm good enough, I'm enough, or are
Yeah.
you lying and saying,
Or
oh,
the other way around, which is the area which I need to work on? What is my blind spot?
yeah, yeah. Do you have any?
This is a really good question to ask. What is my blind spot? But usually the ones who can answer it is that those who know us the most, or at least could. Before we go in any further, I would like to ask our dear viewers, what is your understanding of the word light? What light is for you? Please feel free to share if you wish. If not, that's fine too. I'm just curious to see how you feel about the light and what does it brings and what comes to your mind first. Actually, Jan, what comes to your mind first when you think or feel the light, that word itself? What emotions it generates within you? What?
Yeah, the light, like I said earlier, to me is I always enjoy the first light of day, especially now at the first light of day. It's we're and you're still in bed, then you have a good life, because you can stay out longer. I remember my working days that you left home in the dark, and you come back home in the dark, and then
Yeah.
you only have the light, in bedtime. So I love the first light of day, seeing it when it wakes me up. It kisses me, and um, that light also gives me a feeling of being protected and warmth.
Mm.
When we see the light and we get out of bed, or even before we go out of bed, we first run to the heater, turn it on, and go back to bed, and then just come out when it's even more light. And so light, warmth, visibility, seeing yourself, seeing others. Yeah, yeah.
It's all very positive, but what if the light turns too strong? What then? If the
Oh,
light is blinding?
that's a very good question. I remember from myself, but so I when notice it in myself, and also obviously also notice it in other people. Um, you have, for instance, you have people calling themselves the light or light worker, that bring a lot of positivity and bring a lot of goodness in their work for others until until their light starts blinding you. It's that they become like the sun themselves, and and we should never. We always say you should never look directly into the sun, and that's when you overdo it. When you become so spiritual that you forget the shadow and you put too much effort in.
Mm.
You're manifesting your lightness too strong, and you know you have on a lamp you always have this lovely shade over a lamp, and a strong lamp needs a shade over it to disperse the light, to make it less blinding,
It's
and
funny
so I
you
don't
say
like
that.
people without it.
It's funny you say that because while you were talking, Richard kept typing. Light is the life giver. It is purifying, revealing, but
Yeah,
light is also blinding, and it can kill. In fact, the devil masquerades as the angel of light. It's actually the opposite. Devil is the
the
fallen angel of light.
of
He
light.
used to be an angel,
Yeah,
but then he fell.
yeah,
That's why he's a fallen
and that's
angel.
funny because the name Lucifer, which is
Yes.
one of the name
Even the
that
name Lucy, it comes from the word light as well.
Lucifer, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes,
And of
Louis,
course, and in
it's
my
the
native
light.
language, in Dutch, the word Lucifer is actually match.
Mm,
Match you light your candle with.
interesting.
Yeah, yeah,
Interesting. Yes, well, exactly. Sometimes even our own light can burn ourselves or others if
yeah,
we are in the, it's like with a plant and with a seed. When the seed is in the wrong environment, it's not going to grow the way it should and the way it's supposed. And that's the same thing with us and with people. If we wake up, if we start to shine our own light, but we are around people who are not ready for this, who are still in the darkness, this light will work like the light of the flashlight straight into their, like being flashed straight into their eyes. Oh my goodness, I have difficulties to speak today. And it causes pain because that light reveals the shadow. It shows the aspects of ourselves which require change, transformation. And I loved in that story you shared at the beginning how the light was showing all the things we normally and necessarily wouldn't like to see, like the scary spider webs and other aspects which we would prefer to avoid.
yeah,
Very often when we see somebody else's light, we can feel bad about ourselves. We can go into that victim mode because, oh, I'm not there yet. They're better than me. And then the spiral begins, and then the devil comes out.
yeah, yeah. And so that's actually the spiritual light you see from someone else, and if it creates jealousy or this or this or that, you can normally say they're blinding as well, and then the risk of trying to follow that is that you create or move into spiritual yourself too much and too soon, so you're overwhelming yourself with spirituality. It comes from a sudden realization or a sudden awakening, and the intensity leaves you unprepared with to handle this clarity, and boom, there you go. And you're all loose, and you're all spiritual, and you're all woohoo. And I always say it's good to have one leg in the spiritual world, but keep the other one in the manifest world, and be real, be, yeah,
Yeah.
embrace reality.
I've learned that lesson the hard way. Yes.
Only.
Hello, Iron Fire Horse. So lovely to have you today.
Oh,
Tonight
great.
we are talking about the light.
Yeah.
Um, can you think of any other challenging aspect of the light? We talked
Yeah.
about clarity.
The revelations. Sometimes, um, it's a collective level. Light reveals darker aspects of society, inequality, corruption, suffering. Uh, we see a lot of it in at the moment in the wars, in the division that's brought by our politicians, the big divide between groups in humanity. And when we in a good way uh, bring these things up, and bring a counterbalance, say, okay, we can agree to disagree, but we don't have to be divided. And um, but recognizing that society is like that, and that we are uh, played against each other, that can be so unsettling, but it eventually will always motivate change. It will always motivate steps forward, stepping out of it, and it
Yeah.
always motivate. Yeah, and that's the card I brought for this part of it. Temperance, temperance, transformation. That's in the thought card. Uh, so balancing out the positives and the negatives, and uh, and creating justice there, creating a kind of an equilibrium in a good way.
Mhm. I love Richard's comment. By very definition, you cannot see shadows without light
Boom.
in the physical and spiritual worlds.
And that's absolutely,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Um, one time I heard my friend saying, the more light you bring, the more other people realize how much their own shadow they have. And those who bring lights and those who bring that exposure are usually the ones which most of people won't come over and say thank you for showing me this about me. It usually goes into that other hate and spiral because you made me realize something about me I don't like. I don't like my shadow. Now I'm not going to like you, and now I'm going to try to destroy you sometimes because you're a source of all evil, and
Yeah,
not recognizing that that
yeah, and
comes
that's
from
yeah,
their own
that's of course
within.
when the light reveals the mirror,
Mm, yes.
because what you love in yourself, you can sometimes see in someone you love, and what you hate in yourself, you see in someone you hate. It's always a mirror, and that goes for light and for darkness. It goes for both of it, and that's, like I said, that's where we need to find balance in society, balance with ourselves, balance in the relationship with others, not getting carried away, not getting angry of nothing, of you do this, no, you do this, and it's keep the flow going. That's so important.
And the balance here is the key because it's a universal law of nature, keeping
Yeah,
everything in balance. Because when things are in harmony, they flow. And of course, if there is too much sun, things burn. If there is very little sun, things can't grow as
yeah,
much.
yeah,
So it's everything about balancing and balancing your own light and the darkness and learning how to dance in between the two of you and how to dance with each other.
yeah, yeah, yeah. What the light also actually does was what I see in these cards, justice, and that's the demand for accountability, revealing
Mm.
the truth, the naked truth, and it often compels action, like taking responsibility for your choices and advocating change. So this process can feel daunting, exhausting, tiring. It's hard. It's time consuming. Um, it's not easy even, but it demands it for yourself. And again, it also you can also demand it from others, that they account for their deeds, and they account for the wrongdoings and for the injustice. that's
Mhm.
that's there. That's that's always
Ri-
there.
Richard says here, I also like that in English, light means the opposite of heavy. Thank you for that comment, because that's
Yeah,
such a good point here.
yeah. That's also
Opposite.
in my native language, actually.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, yeah,
Very
yeah.
nice.
It's the opposite of heavy.
Yeah.
Lightweight.
I wish I could say that about my native language. However, we have 15 different words for just the word light. So
For which word? For light in weight or light in light?
both, actually, both, which makes it even more complicated. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Okay. Okay.
I was just thinking right now, what would be your advice to those who are in need of light, to those who experience a lot of darkness through difficult circumstances or
Yeah.
exposing something about themselves? What would be your advice for those who are in need of light?
Yeah, the ones who are really in need of light, and I mean spiritual light, not the light that shines on us, but just a spiritual light. You're probably going through a more or less period which we call the dark night of the soul, and that's a period of transformation. And just make sure that do the work, do the shadow work, work with the parts of yourself that you cannot see. Look at our previous two episodes where we exposed the deep dark sides of ourselves, because it's it's the lack of light that keeps us in the shadow. So it's the lack of balance that keeps us in the shadow, and work with acknowledging the shadow, acknowledging what's your pain points, what are you hiding from yourself, what are you hiding from the world, what's the deeper feelings, what's the deeper cause of them, and from there move on. And if you have difficulties moving on, uh, get in contact with Luna or even myself, and we can work on how you perceive the world. We can work on helping you to reawaken. That's part of what we do.
Well, Iron Fire Horse is like, I didn't even see the name. When I read Get Out in the Nature, I knew Iron Fire Horse, that was you who wrote it. And it's my answer to everything. And absolutely, I agree with that. But what if the circumstances are just outside of ourselves? What then?
The thing is, we always look at circumstances outside of ourselves, and it's not the circumstances, it's not the things that happen into the world, it's always the way we react to them. And that's why I always say, uh, make sure you're in both worlds. Make sure you're very connected and you're very in line with the spiritual world, but also stay close to reality and stay in the physical world, because most of the things happen, of course, in the physical world. But can you imagine the pain that people do each other spiritually? And that's and so it's never, no, that I can't say never, but it's the hardship always comes from our own response to the things that are happening in our lives. And
Absolutely.
sometimes you have an influence there, and many times you have little influence there, and then it's this process where you go through this darkness, integrate it, work with it, face it for what it is. Don't tell yourself stories. Tell yourself the truth, and yeah, then you have the time of transformation, death, and rebirth.
Yes. It's funny that you pulled that card, because very often the part of transformation, the most important part of transformation and the change we resist so much is actually allowing those things to literally die,
Boom.
fall away. And this is one of the most difficult parts, because it's sometimes we want to have control over things so badly that we keep on holding things, sometimes even just for the purpose of holding on to something, because we're scared of the new. We're scared of the new ground, which is, and the path which is unfolding in front of us. But because we don't know what's next, we prefer and tend to stick to what's well known.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
once you find the strength to do that, that's a complete game changer. Just like a death card.
Yeah, and there you point to a very valid thing that I notice. Lots of people, um, they experience these troubling times for themselves, but the hard time getting out of this is they also feel rewarded for
Mm.
their problems and their mishap, and so they're gaining from living this drama and not overcoming it, because they think it makes me important, it makes me seen. When I'm normal, and when I just am quiet, nobody sees me, so I expose my darkness in drama. And that's where I win, because now I get noticed. Now I get noticed.
Yeah,
Now I am the light again. That's where you have it again. Now I'm the light again. And of course,
exactly.
uh,
And
um,
you have no idea about how many people from my environment I could put into that category you just mentioned, that being a victim and staying and choosing to be that victim because of a different gain, which feeds up another need.
that's what it does. It fills up another need, and it fills up the gap that they could easily fill with enlightenment and wisdom and transformation and balancing the light and the darkness.
Just to summarize, we are not saying that too much of a light is bad, at least I am not. But what we're trying to point here out and bring to the table the most is the awareness that, like with everything, there is a need for balance. And obviously, if there is more light, embrace it while it lasts, because it's
Mhm.
not going to last forever. However, the key to understanding of yourself, the universe, and the key to life is those two poles you were holding the card up,
Yeah, the dark
the
and the light.
light and the darkness, because that's where the wisdom comes from, balancing those scales. And I love to see the high priestess here
Mhm.
summarizing what we've just discussed about keeping things in balance. There is no light without the darkness, and no darkness without the light. Even you can see, like Jan is wearing more whites today, I'm wearing more black, but somehow it's more or less balanced.
Yeah, that's correct. The colors are reversed in the card, but but still,
Yeah.
yeah.
But just like Iron Fire's horse, I'm sorry, Iron Fire horse today, I'm just rumbling more than usual, I guess.
Mhm.
Going out and being out with nature, this is my answer and my key to everything. This is
Yeah,
something which may sound silly, especially within a really difficult circumstances. However, Mother Nature is always there to cherish and nourish ourselves. And if we turn into her, I promise you that the pain will be felt less, at least for a little while.
yeah,
But we need to allow ourselves to be nourished.
yeah, yeah. And step
And
forward.
yeah, and make a choice and first step, and asking for help, asking for that nourishing energy. And
Yeah,
if we can't get it from others, then it's our responsibility to find it ourselves. Because at the end of the day, there is, if you're lucky enough, yes, you will have people around you who will help you to build up that life. But how many times it's you and you only? So we have to learn how to embrace and find our own light. Luna, the
That's
Queen
just high.
that really resonated with my 20s and 30s. Oops, not
Well,
saying
Luna,
it.
you are, and you have always been the high priestess of the channel. So
Not in life, I'm
and
afraid. But at least I had some fun in life.
yes, we do have, and
Oh, thank you, Richard, for that. I'll take it as a compliment. It made
yeah,
me laugh.
yeah. So when you're ready and when you've went through the transformation, it's time to go full circle. And when we go
Yeah.
full circle, we revert back to number zero, the full. We step into the light, new beginnings, trusting the journey ahead with openness and curiosity. We step in, as the fool in the tossed card says, with both feet forward, or in the Rider-Waite Smith, we step into the abyss, and the little karma there on the card is warning the fool, watch out, you're falling. But it's all stepping towards the light, and of course we see the sun reflected in this card as well. So
Yes.
it's all about let this be this moment of awakening. Let this be the first day of the rest of your life.
Mm. We promise to explore that topic more because I
Yep.
think there is a need in the when we're facing so much darkness around us. And I'm not talking about the weather, because here on the northern hemisphere we're coming shortly into winter,
Yep.
but looking at the darkness which is surrounding ourselves, our everyday lives. I witness a lot of darkness, a lot of drama around me, people being really challenged. So I think it's very needed to bring some light into our hearts and to spark some more light within yours. And I hope that today's discussion helped you to discover just that tiny little spark within you, which can start your inner fire and your flame burning again. If not, come back next week and we will promise to do some more work you
Yep.
can do with yourself in order to discover and nourish your own inner light.
Yeah. And my table is a mess right now. All the cards that I used have ended up on a big pile in front of me, and it's my job to put them neatly back. The deck, the big cards came from a fresh deck, so I can just put them back in place, and the other ones have to shuffle
Mm.
carefully, because
Yeah.
otherwise you get all the same numbers in the same place.
Mm. Yeah,
So
and
with
it's a
that
beautiful
review,
comment here.
yeah,
You two always shine the light on things going in my life. Well, that's why you found us, and that's why we keep doing this what we're doing, because we are here to spread love and light, and sometimes kick your asses, and sometimes kick our own asses.
oh yeah,
Um,
definitely they need
but
to
that's
get
what
kicked.
friends are for,
Yeah,
and you guys are our friends, our family here on the channel, our community of beautiful and like-minded people. And I appreciate you and thank you for spending that Wednesday or whatever you watched us with us. And with
yes,
that being said, we invite you next week to
same time,
discover
same
some more
channel.
about the light.
Yes.
Yeah.
So goodbye. See you next week.
Good night and stay in the light.
Do. Bye.